would like to turn now to Mrs. Kwazi Baby to provide her perspective, perhaps focusing on gender, the soft side, and how that related to the intermediate cities and the metropolitan areas. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I am Kazi Baby, Executive Director of Participatory Development Action Program, Bangladesh. I'm also a member of WARO Commission and an expert of Policy Unit 4. In Policy Unit 4, it became clear that a lack of coordination at the metropolitan scale may create cost-ineffective solutions, especially in terms of coping with spillover and externality challenges. Nevertheless, most metropolitan governance reform have triggered intense political debates and controversies. And barriers exist to further reform efforts, which may include strong local identities. Strong metropolitan governance is a key component of the new urban agenda. National government should enable the development of stronger metropolitan governance by involving local and sub-regional governments in the reform process, but more importantly, civil society. As there is no one-size-fits-all solution, different models could be set up within the same country in order to respond accurately to the specific needs of coordination in different metropolitan regions. We have already heard about the Montreal Declaration. The declaration clarifies that a metropolitan governance requires a clear legal and institutional framework based on principles of democracy and respect for local authority. Furthermore, this framework must be provided with appropriate funding, which involves coordination mechanism and clear policies on infrastructure, economic development, the environment, and culture, among others. Cooperation at the metropolitan level should be based on the representation of all citizens and stakeholders, especially the marginalized ones. Doing so would facilitate effective land use planning, including helping to manage urban growth, the reduction of disparities in public service provision, and the construction and operation of safe public transit. To really ensure an effective implementation of mechanisms for metropolitan governance, we must look to put in place a new multi-level partnership for metropolitan cooperation by multi-level, I mean bottom-up. It must be partnership from the grassroots organizations, civil society groups, and government institutions. We must capitalize on the knowledge and efficient practices of one another, turning back to Policy Unit 4. Capacity building and institutional support go hand to hand to attain inclusive governance. I just want to share one case study that we have done in our country. It is in metropolitan area, in Dhaka city. Over the past years, we have seen a rise in the number of slums. Since 1996, my organization, Participatory Development Action Program, has worked in different slum areas on issues such as basic education, primary health care, and skill development training for women and especially young girls. In these informal urban communities, women and poor households face caregiving burdens due to a lack of access to and control over resources and services. Their ability to increase their daily income and affect food security is impeded by concerns of being evicted from their homes. Lacking intervention by the Dhaka metropolitan government, PDAP has entered the slums to build community resilience through leadership and disaster risk reduction training. About 500 families live in the Bhola slum. The name of this slum was Bhola, after being displaced from their homes over 24 years ago due to river erosion. We took the following action to build up community resilience: identification of risk areas through mapping and household survey, and leadership development training, use of local-to-local dialogue with authorities within the community and at a national level workshop. After receiving this capacity building training, the women of Bhola Slum formed partnership with donor organization to address the issue of sanitation facilities and roadways. The women approached their local partner, parliament member for permission to cover open drains in the roads. As such, these women took a bottom-up approach to urban development, taking matters into their own hands and working with non-governmental partners to provide solution. This is an example of how metropolitan governance failed to provide necessary services to their citizens, but that with empowering these slum dwellers, they were able to create their own solutions. Last but not the least, as we move forward developing a new urban agenda, it must be aligned with the strengthen the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. The new urban agenda must take an integrated approach and respect and strengthen the links between SDG 11, SDG 5, and every SDG, which especially recognize the social and economic role played by women and girls worldwide. The new urban agenda must do the same in formally engaging women of all levels of society in the context of urban development and partnership building, address gender gaps in government structures, promote public leadership training, programs for girls to participate and lead to metropolitan life. Women of all levels, even in slums, have distinct perspectives and innovative solutions to urban issues. To be truly effective, governments in metropolitan areas, especially those which are rapidly outgrowing their administrative capacity, must integrate these perspectives and solutions in order to best serve their populations. Thank you.
Thank you for this contribution. I would like